to call to order the City of Joliet's combined City Council meeting for today, Tuesday, September 7th, presiding Honorable Mayor Bob Dekirk. We'll be joined today for the invocation by Father William Dewan at the Cathedral of St. Raymond and Sacred Heart.
Good evening, everyone. So, dear wise and loving Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself and for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance, for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thank you for loving us from your boundless and gracious nature. In the scriptures, you said that citizens ought to respect governing authorities, since you've established those very authorities to promote peace, order, and justice. Therefore, today we pray for our mayor, for all the other various levels of city officials, and in particular for this assembled council. We're asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid conflicting interests in issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people here in Joliet, a keen thirst for justice and righteousness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there's honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. Pray for the agenda set before them. Give them the assurance of what they would please you that would benefit those who live and work in and around our city of Joliet. It is in your most blessed name we pray. Together, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father.
You're welcome.
Begin with roll call. Mayor Dekirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudron.
Here.
Councilwoman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
In motion seconded to approve, Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move to council committee reports. First is the CTIS committee report.
Okay, the CTIS committee met August 25th at 8:30 a.m. in the executive conference room. We only had a couple of things on our agenda. Most of the discussion was about the software used to automate the planning review process. Currently, all of our plans come to the city, they're done manually, they go between departments, they look them over, they make changes. It creates a lot of margin for error, excuse me. The software that we would like to bring in, it would give the plans would be submitted electronically to the city. They would go through each department, only the changes would be made electronically. And as they go through these departments, each department would get a list of what changes were made. So they wouldn't be guessing, they wouldn't be going through them manually, they'd be seeing exactly what changes were made and kind of making a decision based on that. Once it was done, the revision, once it was completed, they would send it back to the contractors to make their own revisions. So obviously this streamlines the process and speed and accuracy. They've been looking at what other company or what other cities have been using for this type of software. They looked at Chicago and Rockford, and they came up with Evolve. That seems to be the standout company by far. CTS has discussed it with the other city departments that it impacts. They have all felt like this is a good company to go with. So since that is the case, they are currently negotiating pricing with Evolve, and they're working with our legal department to make sure everything is what it needs to be. We did make a motion and approved it to come to City Council for a 3-year software deal renewable for 3 life terms not to exceed the cost of $300,000 over 5 years, and not to exceed $150,000 in upfront costs for the hardware and software itself. The next thing on the agenda was October is Cybersecurity Month. Amanda spoke about, she's done this, and I know we all had this before, where that we have this new training, and that all came out to all of us, and we did this cybersecurity training. They're gonna restart that up again with, all new programs, so that, we won't be repeating what we were already doing. As you know, it was very beneficial. I know I learned so much for me and myself personally and for my company. And the better trained we are, the less likely we are to have any kind of security breaches. So that was just to give us the FYI that it was gonna start again. And that's my report.
Thank you.
Public Safety Committee report.
Public Safety met this evening in Executive Conference Room at 5:30. Present was Councilman Hug, Councilman Clement, myself, Chief Malik, Deputy Chief Blackburn, Deputy Chief Rouse, and many staff members. We had quite the agenda, and one of the first things on the agenda was to change the Bureau of Justice the Bureau of Justice Assistance for the ER Supply Funding Program. Many are going to the apps to help and with mental health. Wait, those are not my minutes. Sorry. Okay, Maria was here from the police department about this grant, and they had a grant for $119,000. It was given in 2020, but it wasn't used right away. But it could be used for anything COVID related. So they did not spend the money. So they did a survey of the police department, asking them what they thought that they needed most with this money. And there were 5 different things. And one of the items was they didn't feel that they were supported enough by City Hall and or mental health issues. So they know that the fire department has the peer support group, but they wanted something of their own, even though the two are kind of working together. Police and fire are totally different entities, and they each have their own issues. So Maria searched for this grant money to use for mental health issues. It's an app. They can download the app, they can go to the app, they can check themselves if I'm having this kind of a problem or having that kind of a problem. And if they need extra help, then they can make a phone call and check in with a therapist or a mental health specialist or a peer supporter. And so that's what they decided to spend that money on. Okay, authorization to amend compensation structure for the crossing guards. Well, Deputy Chief Rouse is here to explain that. Deputy Chief, please, thank you.
Deputy Chief.
He's gonna tell me- I'm sorry.
Sergeant.
Sergeant, okay, well, I just promoted you.
Good evening. Currently, the city's crossing guards are tasked with covering 42 shifts throughout the city. Currently, we have 21 guards covering 32 shifts, and 10 crossing locations are going unfilled on a daily basis. Since 2015, we've had Tier 1 and Tier 2 pay for our crossing guards. Tier 1 pay was grandfathered in at $48.17 a day. And after passing in 2015, Tier 2 were rated at 32 for the first year, 36 for the second year, and $40 a day for the third year as you move up in pay. Because of the ongoing pandemic and manpower shortages, the city has been unable to hire applicants. There's only been 1 applicant in the past year. And the current guards that we have are not willing to cover secondary crossings. In 2015, we amended the pay for secondary crossing. If a guard did their primary crossing, they got their Tier 1 or Tier 2 pay. When they went and did a second crossing, if there was an unfilled spot, if they did a half crossing, which would be a morning crossing or an afternoon crossing singularly, they would get $6. If they did a double crossing that day, which means they did their original assignment and another full assignment, they would get an additional $12 a day. And the problem that we're running into now is that the guards' complaint is that this additional $6 or $12 to cover these empty spots barely covers the cost of fuel or their time to cover the additional crossings. And so the recommendation was being made to increase the pay for guards doing secondary crossings, that if they did a half crossing, they would receive their regular tier 1 or 2 pay. And then if they did a secondary crossing, they would receive either half of their daily pay or a full amount of their daily pay. So in effect, if they did their crossing and another full crossing, they would basically get double their amount. We were looking to amend this structure permanently. It's kind of permanently and temporarily, because right now, as we're suffering from a manpower shortage, if we get more guards to come on and we fill these spots, then, you know, tentatively every guard would only fill 1 spot per day. But as we're dealing with this shortage, we're actually asking these guards to take on additional duties, and right now, they just don't want to for the current pay.
Does anyone have questions?
Yeah, what role are the school districts playing in this?
It's District 86, which is Joliet schools K through 8. Plainfield District 202, which is all the schools in the city that are K through 8, and also our 2 Catholic diocese schools, which are St. Ray's and St. Mary's.
Right, what is your role in this? I mean, we're having shortages and we can't find anyone to hire. Are they assisting in this?
We've reached out to our Catholic schools, and St. Mary's has offered to help with school personnel. District 202 hasn't offered much help yet, and we're in talks with Superintendent District 86, Dr. Rouse, to try to alleviate some of these concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving on, request to purchase a Ford Explorer for the Police Department Traffic Unit, $45,000 and some change. Cams Communications, some Element Graphics and IT communication gear for a total of $53,162. That was also passed unanimously. A vehicle for the prisoner transport vehicles for the operations department. They can't get an accurate amount on this right now. There's 3 companies that make this particular vehicle, but due to shortages and microchips and labor and trucking, it gave us a ballpark figure of $160,000, not to exceed that price. So when they get the 3 bids, they will take the lowest of the 3 bids, again, not to exceed $160,000 for both of the vehicles. Any questions on that? That was also voted on unanimously to approve. And last but not least was the purchase of another Ford Explorer for the investigations department in the amount of $36,510 plus $20,000 in lighting, upfitting, and IT install needs for a total of $49,000. And these funds are available from the state asset forfeiture. So we, again, voted unanimously because the money's already there for that. Does anybody from the committee have any other thing they want to add that I missed?
No.
That concludes our report, Mayor.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
Yes, the Public Service Committee, we met today at 4:30 here in the council chamber. Committee members, along with myself, is Councilwoman Gavin and Councilman Hug. We went over the contracts pretty thoroughly. Some was on the 9th agenda, and some will be on our second meeting in September. We also went thoroughly over our change orders, pay estimates, and final payments, as well as our ordinance and resolutions. Pretty routine items was on the agenda this evening. Had an update on the fire hydrant repairs, as well as valves and water main breaks. And we seem to be doing, you know, as we've done over the last few years at this date. I think that was pretty much it. I know the city manager will probably, the items up tonight will be discussed, you know, more if need be. Councilwoman Gavin?
No, I think you covered it all, sir.
Okay, that's it, John.
Thank you.
Mayor, there's one thing I'd like to add that we did discuss under old new business, were these ATM vehicles that are wreaking havoc in our town. And the police department are all over it. They're trying to catch these folks, but they would ask the citizens to maybe be their eyes and don't approach these folks. But if you see a vehicle, get a description, and get the license plate, or if you have any video from your video cam on your front porch or whatever like that, call the non-emergency number, and that would kind of give the police some ground to try to track these folks down. But they are working on it, but it's very difficult because they just take off like crazy. And it's not just here, it's like citywide here, but it's also in other surrounding towns. So I know it seems like nobody's doing anything, but they're just so hard to catch. It's just, they're trying their best to do it. So we could use your help, but again, don't approach them. Just write down things that you see. Be very descriptive about the vehicle, about the person riding the vehicle, and that would help them with some extra information. That was everything. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is an update on the Rialto Square Theater.
The board meeting was August 25th. This is the first board meeting since the staff is back. The board has met with Val every month since the facility was basically closed back in March when COVID first hit. Since its reopening, this show sales have been very strong. There's a fall schedule that is on their website. Recently, they've also put on the website all of the new holiday events that'll be going on starting before Thanksgiving and then running through the Christmas season. As announced in the paper, they have been pursuing the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. This is an amount of $16 billion in grants that the SBA Office of Disaster has given out or is in the process of giving out to any shuttered venues that qualify. The Rialto was able to obtain $1,400,000 of this money. The plans are to use the money for capital improvements. There has been no major capital improvements in the past 30 years. As all of us can easily imagine, if we didn't do anything for our own personal homes for 30 years, we would have some major issues. They published a list, I think everyone saw in the local newspaper, which is also on their website, of a few $1 million of capital improvements. They're in the process now of getting some bids and prioritizing what needs to be done on those, and we'll be out with that final list here shortly. Obviously, they thanked us for all the help we have given them in the past to stay open, but none of the money that they have here is going towards any of the day-to-day operations. It's going to the bigger projects that need to be there so they can be open on a day-to-day project. That's my report. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on August 16th and the minutes of the council meeting held on August 17th, 2021 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Position vacancies, Council Memo 399-21. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill one fire captain position, one EMS coordinator lieutenant position, and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 400-21, regular payroll for June 18th through July 1st, 2021, $3,420,236.50. Council Memo 401-21, regular payroll for July 2nd through July 15th, 2021, $1,381,539.44. It's recommended said regular payrolls be approved. Council Memo 402-21, award of contract for the 2021 roadways resurfacing contract B, MFTs to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $2,413,582.69. Council Memo 403-21, award of contract for the 2021 sanitary sewer point repairs project, various locations to Brandt Excavating in the amount of $134,780.61. Council Memo 404-21, award of contract for the emergency repairs to the Rock 3 Well to Water Well Solutions Illinois LLC in the amount of $257,500. Council Memo 405-21, award of professional engineering services contract for the Phase 1 engineering for North Chicago Street streetscape reconstruction project to Civil Tech Engineering in an amount not to exceed $299,229. Council Memo 406-21, Amendment Number 4, in the amount of negative $3,288.14, and payment request number 12 and final in the amount of $13,211.07 to Willett Hoffman and Associates for the Phase 2 engineering services for the Garnsey Avenue over Spring Creek Improvement Project. It's recommended Council Memos 402-21 through 406-21 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second?
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on under licenses and permit applications. Council Memo 407-21, issuance of a Class B liquor license at 401 Woodruff Road, the old Joliet Haunted Prison. It's recommended the Class B liquor license be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances, Council Memo 408-21, an ordinance accepting a plat of easement at 2901 Shanahan Road for the Crow Joliet Trucking Terminal Development. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 410-21, a resolution accepting the dedication of right-of-way from the Troy Community Consolidated School District 30C for Theodore Street adjacent to the Troy Middle School. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 411-21 is a resolution accepting the grant of a public utility sidewalk and landscape easement from the Troy Community Consolidated School District 30C for Theodore Street adjacent to the Troy Middle School. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 412-21, resolution accepting the grant of a public utilities sidewalk and landscaping easement from the Troy Community Consolidated School District 30C for Theodore Street adjacent to the William B. Orenick Intermediate School. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 413-21, a resolution accepting a temporary cul-de-sac easement agreement at 2903 Schweitzer Road for the H&K subdivision Lot 1, 2800 Schweitzer Road Development. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 414-21, a resolution accepting an off-site easement for stormwater detention for West Side Joliet Real Estate Subdivision, LLC, Unit 1. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 415-21, a resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the 2021 roadways resurfacing contract B in the amount of $2,413,582.69. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 416-21, a resolution appropriating Rebuild Illinois bond funds for the professional engineering services contract for the Phase 1 engineering for North Chicago Street Streetscape Reconstruction Project in the amount of $250,252. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
I have nothing significant to report at this time.
New business not for final action or recommendation is next.
Eddie?
I have nothing.
Cesar?
Just as I had spoken to Ms. Caparelli earlier, we did experience that storm earlier today. To my knowledge, nobody's really within the city of Joliet sustained any serious damage, but of course, anytime something like this happens, just as a reminder to anybody who might be watching online, should there be any tree damage, something in the public way, what's the best line for them to call?
Well, it's always the Public Works, but clearly there's a online system, which is the Citizens View. We encourage people to do that, and if you have something that's in the public way, please bring it to our attention so we can get some crews out there. But I have not had a report from any city road crews or anything like that of anything of note. So, but yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Councilman.
Just a, just something else?
No, that's it.
Just a reminder, for all of us, we got the budget process coming up shortly. And let's really strive to hit that $12.5 million mark that the city deserves for street resurfacing and repair. And, let's get as close to that as we can in the budget. And at least with a minimum of $6 million the first year, and we can, go in increments. But, let's work hard to get to the $12.5 million.
Yes, sir.
Jim? Sherri? Just one thing, I know we did a press release on it last week, but it is big news. Allison's not here, I don't think tonight, but the city of Joliet and the water plan that we put forward, the commission, did get the Lake Michigan allocation, which is significant because at the beginning of this, if some of you remember, there was some skepticism whether or not we would be able to draw water from the lake or whether it'd be a large enough amount to do what we wanted to do. We were hearing early on that the federal government favored our approach, the regional approach that we took, and this is a big hurdle that we got over. So congratulations to Allison and to staff for making this happen. It's a big hurdle.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, next is mayor and council comments.
Joe?
I just want to thank Greg Ruddy and Jim Tiber. We get a lot of phone calls and emails on trees. And whenever whenever I call them, they're on it right away. So I want to thank them for getting on it, right away. So, thank you.
Eddie?
Okay, I have nothing.
Cesar? Larry? Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to our fire department and particularly to the ambulance crew. Football season opened a couple of weeks ago. We have a regular season. Last year we didn't. Our first game was at Plainfield South High School for my football crew as I referee. It was at Plainfield South High School. The temperature was 93. The heat index was 102. The IHSA requires high schools to stop all outdoor activities if it gets to 104 heat index. And so we had to do both the sophomore and the varsity game because there is a shortage. Any young people interested, reach out to the IHSA. There's a shortage of officials that got even worse during COVID. It was so bad, so hot out there, people were cramping up. There was over a dozen, if not 24 people from the stands, students in the student section that, had a reaction to the heat. Actually, one member, a fill-in member, it's not my regular member, but one member of my crew couldn't finish the varsity second half. And the Joliet fire crew, paramedics crew was out there, did a tremendous job with him. They put him in the ambulance and took care of him, and then he was finished at halftime, as well as dozens and dozens of people. It was brutal. It was brutal. And then, of course, I came back to the second week yesterday, or Friday at Bolingbrook, and I got tackled, Mayor. So that's what I want to do, is give a shout out to our guys. I did call the chief and let him know, but I was very, very proud of, I mean, there was a lot of heat-related problems that evening. That's it. Nothing else.
A couple of things. I attended with you, Mayor, the ribbon cutting for Liberty Meadows on August 26th for the public housing for people to rent to own, and it's quite an outfit out there. I mean, it's amazing what they have. And they have a regular maintenance place in there so they can, people can learn how to take care of their home once they have it. You know, basic things like your furnace and how to turn on the stove or electric and things like that. Things that you don't normally think of if you've never owned your own home. So it was quite an amazing event, and Congressman Foster was also there in attendance. And then last week was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame event at the Rialto. That place was literally rocking. It was amazing. The show went on for 4 hours, but it was quite impressive, I must say. I had to see for myself, and I hope it really takes off, the Rock and Roll Museum, because it was really something to see. And people were there, and people complied. They had their masks on, some didn't, but most of the people did. And it was just a wonderful event to have it downtown, especially to see the Rialto so vibrant again. That's all.
Sherri?
Yeah, I would like to do another shout out to our fire department. They offered a CPR certification class a week ago, Monday, and I think it went out to all city employees and elected officials. They did a great job. We were at Fire Station 1. They did a great job. I know Greg Ruddy was there, and Kathy Franz and some other employees. It was done so well. I feel like I'm ready. I hope I never have to use it, but I feel like they prepared me well, so thank you.
A couple events, Councilwoman Coleman, you mentioned HAJ and Liberty Meadows. Congratulations to Michael Simulton and his group for putting that together. The day before, myself and the city manager were invited to tour the Lion Electrical electric car facility that's being under construction. They had representatives in from Canada. They gave us a tour of the facilities. It's very impressive. I know most of us were out there the day of the press conference, but it's a great project coming to Joliet, and they are staying on top of it. CN Railroad held a forum that, again, myself and the city manager attended a couple weeks ago in Lockport with a number of other towns from the area. CN has some big plans for our area, not specifically for Joliet, but I think there's announcements going to be coming soon about what CN is planning on doing. And then finally, and credit to the council, but September 1st, Joliet Police had a swearing in. 14 new police officers were sworn in on that day. And I think that makes 28 this year, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right, Joe?
Somewhere around there.
So, yeah, we obviously know we took a hit during COVID, but we've taken big strides to try to get those numbers back where they were. So that's all I have, but congratulations to the police department and to all the new Joliet officers that were sworn in that day.
And did receive a request for closed session. So is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So move.
Second?
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried.
You want to just have it out here so we can socially distance?